dedicated to a Caesar by the name of Philip. It's a Roman town, Roman construction. And if you go to the Holy Land today and you insist on your Jewish guide and Arab Christian driver, Ronen and Sahel, those are my good friends, na part ng itinerary ay itong 1 hour away area by the name of Caesarea Philippi and nothing to see in between the area of Capernaum, let's say, and Caesarea Philippi. Sabi nila, Father, it's a waste of time. No, no. Mahalaga to sa amin. This Caesarea Philippi is a very important place. Pagpunta niyo po doon ngayon, ang dami pong sa mountain, sa mountain range, makikita mo ang mga niches, mga parang holes para sa ating mga santo. But to them, these are the statues of different gods. In fact, sometimes the word Banyas is the name of the place. And it is dedicated to the god Pan, the god of the forest. And with this backdrop of so many gods placed by the Roman Empire, and where there is a spring of water coming out from the soil, that is the beginning of the so-called River Jordan. That's where po nagbubukal po ang tubig ng Ilog Jordan. In this scenario of Caesarea Philippi, naipagtanong ni Jesus, chapter 16 na po tayo, out of 28, so halos kalagitnaan, no? Lampas ng kalagitnaan. Who do people say I am? Ang sabi, parang John the Baptist daw or one of the great prophets. Sabi ni Jesus, kayo, who do you say I am? Ang nagbukas po ng bibig, si Simon, son of John. At sinabi niya, you are the Christ. The expected, anointed, sent by the Father, by Yahweh. And you are not just the Christ, you are the Son of the living God. Ito po ang tawag dito po ay titles of Jesus. Ang alam po kay Jesus is Nazareno, no? Jesus of Nazareth. And practically, yun yung sinabi ng mga tao. Who do people say I am? Well, taga Nazareth yan, si Jesus, pero parang sikat, magaling magsalita. Ang ibig sabihin ng sinabi ng tao. Pero ang sagot ni Simon, son of John, anak ng Diyos. Alam niyo mga kapatid, tinatry pala ngayon gayahin si Freddie Mercury of the Bohemian Rhapsody. Nakita ko when I visited my brother in their Netflix, a certain Adam Lambert is trying to become the second Freddie Mercury of the Queen. Nakakaawa. Pati ang kanyang personal lifestyle ginagaya as a gay. Pero wala na si Freddie, wala na si one day wala si Adam Lambert, as wala na po si Elvis, wala na rin po ang mga Beatles. Palagay ko, pag tinanong mo, di ba, yung napanood nyo siguro yung scene yesterday, parang doon nakalimutan na kung sino ang Beatles, right in England. Lahat po ng tao lumilipas mga panaw. Pero yung sagot ni Peter, ni Simon, son of John, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Iba po ito. It has an eternal value. Kakaiba. And that's why Jesus said, alam mo, blessed are you, Peter, Simon, son of John. Kasi in-indicate sa akin ng Ama ngayon sino ang dapat manungkulan sa itinatatag kong komunidad ng mga naniniwala, nananampalataya. And so, iniba ko ngayon ang pangalan mo, inaangkin kita. Ikaw ngayon, ang pangalan mo ay Bato. Dijo de la Rosa, Bato. Petra, from Petra. Peter. Bakit? Upon this mountain, di ba? Kita niyo, may mountain range with all the and goddesses. Sabi niya, hindi. Dito sa bundok na ito, on this mountain, on this rock, I will build my church. And the gates of hell will not prevail against it. And gave him an extraordinary power. Yung sa sinabi mong pinatawad, ay pinatawad sa langit. Kung dito sinabi mong hindi pinapatawad, hindi rin pinapatawad sa langit. Whatever you let loose is loosed in heaven. Whatever you bind is bound in heaven. Matthew 16:16. Ang ating po mga kapatid na iglesia, meron silang Romans 16:16. Ang tawag nila sa iglesia ni Kristo. Well, sad to say, they forgot mga iglesia. Hindi lang po isa. Mga iglesia ni Kristo. Sa atin po, itong tunay na iglesia, itong tunay na church on the rock called Peter. And that is found today on a hill called Vatican Hill, where Peter, Simon Peter, was crucified. And if you visit the so-called Scavi di San Pietro, you'll find at the very bottom of that so-called archaeological dig, right smack beneath the altar of St. Peter's Basilica today, are the bones of a man called Here Lies Peter. And when they made a kind of carbon dating and analysis of the bones in that box, in that ossuary of bones, they found out that it was in the time of Jesus 2,000 years ago. And what is interesting, the bones have so much calcium and must have been eating a lot of fish. So therefore, very, kasi may isa pang indication in that so-called tomb of this, where the ossuary, the bone box was found, it is surrounded by other Christian tombs. And they put a corridor that somehow separates the tomb in the middle, and the other tombs surrounding it has a corridor, as if a kind of deference, reverence, respect for the person that is entombed in the center. Right here po, beneath the very altar of St. Peter's today, is found the bones of a man called Peter. This is the church. It's not for the edifice. Eons, eras, hundreds of years have passed. Even sometimes not so good popes, but the church has not been destroyed. That's very, very true. Huwag ko magpaniwala sa mga taong, yung Catholic Church na yan, in few years, masisira yan. Asa ka pa. Ang ganda po ng sabi ni St. Augustine sa aming breviary, sa aming readings today. When Jesus asked Simon Peter on an Easter Sunday, on a resurrection Sunday, when he was fishing and found no fish, caught nothing. After breakfast, Jesus asked Simon, son of John, do you love me still? And 3 times he asked Simon, Son of John, do you love me? And every time he asked, he would say, I know, you know that I love you. Ikaw po ang may alam. And every time he answered that, you know that I love you, Jesus would say, feed my lambs, tend my sheep, feed my sheep. So he was reinstated in spite of the three denials na sabi ni Augustine, he bound himself not to know Jesus. Three times Jesus allowed him to let loose what he had bound. Ganda, no? First time ko po na bigyan ng pansin ang writing of Augustine. God, Jesus is so magnanimously good and generous. Binigyan pa rin niya ng panahon si Peter to loosen what he had bound as saying, I don't know him. And now Simon says, ikaw lang ang may alam. So, ito po ang sitwasyon, no? Pati si Simon Pedro, nagkasala. Pero yung promise ni Jesus earlier, hindi siya natibag. In fact, Jesus would even say him, you know, Peter, I have prayed for you that the evil one will not be able to snatch you away from me. Therefore, nakita natin sa first reading, si Peter was put into prison. At napakawalan siya ng isang anghel. And therefore, when he recovered from parang the stupor na, totoo ba to? Nakaligtas ako? Kasi Herod, the one who gustong laruin si Jesu Cristo, and Jesus did not say a word before his court, Herod Antipas, son of Herod the Great. Pinakulong din niya si Pedro eh. Pero yung kanyang gustong i-trial si Pedro, hindi. Hindi yan ang kalooban ng Diyos. Peter will die in Jerusalem. He will die in Rome. And so he was let loose. And therefore, what the Jews were expecting to do with him did not happen. The same is said about Paul. Siya rin in prison. May sumulat siya sa kanyang good friend, si Saint Timothy, the elder, the bishop, we could say the administrator of the community of Ephesus. At sinabi rito, the time of my departure is at hand. Malapit na akong patayin. He was put into prison in Rome and he wrote a letter. Sabi niya, but the Lord stood by me and gave me strength so that through me the proclamation might be completed and all the Gentiles might hear it. I was rescued from the lion's mouth, and the Lord will rescue me from every evil threat to bring me safely in the heavenly kingdom. I end with this, brothers and sisters. Ang dasal ni San Pablo, maging ang nangyari kay San Pedro. Yeah, si Pedro talagang napakawalan sa isang prison. But one day he will be imprisoned again in Rome and will be will be martyred under the Emperor Diocletian. Ganun din with Paul, decapitated po. Ito pong pagkakabihag sa kanila, alam nyo, mas nabihag sila ng pagmamahal ng Diyos. More than physical imprisonment, they felt they were completely possessed by the Spirit of God. And that possession, hindi po maligno but good spirit, led them to proclaim, to do whatever is needed, even at the cost of life, for the sake of the proclamation of the good news, of their experience of that love of God in Jesus Christ. Peter, forgiven, allowing him to let loose what he had bound. And Paul, a persecutor, allowing him to somehow live the life of the Christian faith that he was trying to destroy. More than their, we could say, imprisonment physical in chains, they were somehow chained by the love of God. They allowed themselves to really be possessed by God. And look, to this day, June 29, 2020, more than 2,000 years, we recall the glory and the wisdom of God that is shown to us in these apostles, martyrs of the faith. So, brothers and sisters, it is, I think, salutary. It is something for us to do this day. Are we willing to share our faith, even at the cost sometimes of kahihiyan? Pahihiya po tayo, pagtatawanan. But are we willing to share the faith to others? Because more than self-respect or human respect, we are bound, we are feeling this sense of complete possession, belonging to God and His kingdom. I wish to stay in that imprisonment of His love. Let our response be for our petition